Do you ever question yourself if a TV or a real monitor has any pros and cons? I actually received that question a few days ago, and I would like to give an answer on my setup. And I would actually concentrate stronger on the negative side, I would say, because I mean, the benefit for sure is large TVs that at the end of the day are far more uh, cheaper than at the end of the day real monitors. So let's look into what we currently run, and I'm very simplistically open here now Amazon and Case King links just to show you how the setup in general is, and then I will go over to the pros and cons. So first of all, what are we running? So we have three of them. They are called Hisense 55E7 KQ Pro. I actually have bought them with a way lower price than they currently are in Amazon. If I'm looking on that, and they actually promise you 4K QLED 144 hertz BRR, and this is very important. And I will come to this later. HDMI 2.1 and a game mode pro, etc., etc. So this is actually the stats of these TVs that I'm running. I have three of them that are currently in my setup. Because at the end of the day, the big benefit that I wanted to have is I wanted to have a large screen that is not too large at the end of the day to give me the most immersive experience in racing. And there is for sure the question about price, because if at the end of the day you want to have the same size as like OLED gaming monitors, you will not pay the roughly 500 euros that I paid. So this is real. So at the end of the day, it's a pricing question. So what you have to encounter beside cables is you need to also have an adapter. This is like a normal cable matters DisplayPort to HDMI adapter, which promises you 4K 120 hertz. So this is at the end of the day a adapter that transfer the picture information then from a graphic card into the TVs, because TVs doesn't have a native display port input, which is very, very important. And I will come to that in a few seconds. And I actually mounted all of them to these next level racing standing monitor stands. They are pretty huge, so they are not so convenient to set up, to be honest. I don't have them on rolled, so I actually have put them directly on the floor. But they do the job, and they are capable of carrying monitors or TVs that are 55-inch. So these are they are great in the value, but they are not kind of hassle free, right? But I guess this is valid for every monitor stand that you can buy on the internet. So this is the setup. So we have the Hisense, we have these adapters, and then at the end of the day, we do have this you know racing stand, where at the end of the day, we have mounted all three TVs toward it. My upper monitor is mounted to the wall, So therefore, there is no requirement in our scenario, but there are also many stands that I think they can carry also three like 50-inch monitors or TVs, and they also have a mounting for the upper screen, which are for sure far more expensive. But this is something that is on the market available. You can look it up, and you also could have the possibility to directly mount 4 screens. So now let's think about the pros and cons, right? So pros, I said that they are big. Theoretically, these specific TVs also run high hertz um, number like 144, 120. I personally have set them to 120, but it is at the end of the day a step. If you go up to 144, you will lose picture quality. That's simply because the panels that Hisense are using are simply not that good. It also they also can write HDR, which is as well not good. Yeah, so there are a lot of downsides, I would say. But again, you get for 500 euros 55-inch. So I'm running them. They are immersive for me. Picture quality with the right setup. I have using the filmmaker setup. They are perfectly fine. Um, for my case, again, immersive, and this is what I wanted to achieve. Now it's come to the downside, which is at the end of the day the topic around VR. VR simply doesn't work, right? Um, we have on normal graphic cards mostly one HDMI port, and then in the most of the cases, three display ports. This means then for the three display ports, you need to have these adapters, which actually gives you put away then FreeSync, aka VR. So it actually takes away the opportunity that the TVs are syncing the hertz to the frames, which is, turning into a more fluid experience. So imagine I can just run 45 frames. 45 frames are visually not super fluid, but it is fluid, more fluid, when the hertz of the TVs would adapt. Similar to the situation, I'm running now 65 frames or maybe 70 or 75. I'm running higher frames than I would actually the monitor can show. I'm limiting at the end of the day by setting VSync to on. I'm limiting the frames that I could potentially run to 60 frames because I'm syncing 60 frames output to 60 hertz. So how I do this now with 120 hertz? Well, I use VSync fast because VSync fast tries to adapt to the refresh rate of 120 hertz, but not in the perfect sense as we would have it with VR. So if we would get adapters which are capable of transitioning the signal and the information to the TVs. Hey, I'm running now 78 frames. Please adapt your hertz to 78 frames. Then I would actually absolutely recommend to buy TVs because they are cheap, cheaper than monitors. And you will not have then any, like, let's say, downside or but right now, as you have this limit, you have to have stable frames in 60 FPS, you will notice some, latency if you're running VSync on, which is the most stable picture. But um, at the end of the day, you have this kind of downside that you need to live with. So that's my impression. So I hope that video helps you maybe with the decision about which kind of setup you want to choose. At the end of the day, there are monitors. I've seen it. They are from very small companies, which are 65-inch, and they have display ports. They are crazy expensive, really expensive. And at the end of the day, it's the question about how much you want to pay for it. So stay tuned, and then I hope the video helps you a bit.